Okay, we come back to our keyboard and video exercise. So in the last exercise, we make use of the keyboard to select different video for the playback. And in this one, we'll take a look at some more complicated interaction. So we make use of the same keyboard by, for example, pressing on the key number 1, number 2, or number 3 in order to pick up different digital image processing effect for display or for use with the gem window. So if we go back to the effect we have learned before, we learned something like, for example, converting a normal color image into grayscale, or inverting the image similar to what we have done or what we can do in Photoshop. We also learned a little bit about the meta image, the dot and luma offset. And for the exercise, I will select a few of them, and then in combination with the use of the keyboard to create an effect where you can play around with your keyboard. So in order to test the effect, we will disconnect this one and then insert the effect between the film and the texture. For example, as a very easy and quick demonstration, we can have a look of the invert command. So this is the effect of inverting the color within the RGB space with the video we have done before. And the next step we're going to do is to list out all the effects and then to assign them to one particular key in the keyboard in order to trigger that particular effect. So we can identify a few more of them. So the second one we can use is to gray. So that is the conversion to grayscale without changing the color space. So this is the grayscale image we would like to play around with. And then the third one we would like to use is the luma offset. And it comes with two numbers as a second and the third parameter in the inlet. So we'll experiment a little bit about the value of these two parameters. So once we fix the parameter, we can put in a fixed number over there. So we more or less can change the number around here and to take a look of the overall result. So for example, if you are happy with this result, you can write down these two numbers and then assign it as a default in order to work with our image processing exercise. Okay, so the difficult part is how we can combine the three of them together with the original image into one single operation and put it back into the regular flow from the gem head to the pix texture and then to the rectangle. The step we are going to do is to explore one new command. And this particular new command is called gate. So it's the kind like a gateway that you can pass any data or any information towards the right hand side of the inlet, and then the left hand side of the inlet will control whatever location you would like that particular information or data to direct to. For example, if you have 4 of the output, you can direct the output to any one of the 4 outlets by using the control over here. So in this case, again, we have also 1, 2, 3 together with the original image. That is the gateway the original frame information. So we make use of the number 4 as a way to direct it towards the pix texture. So the pix frame information will go through the second inlet, and the rest of the inlet, that is the first one, will be a number. So that number will be in a range between 0 and 4. By being a 0, it will block everything. And if we use 1, so this particular information, that is the frame, will go to the first outlet. And then if it is a number 2, it will go to the second. A number 3 and a number 4 will go to the third and the fourth outlets accordingly. So we use a number for the testing. In this case, we can make use of something we call a radio button. And if we take a look at the property of a radio button, it will give you an initial number that is the range of that particular selection. So in this case, we have 5 of them. So the first one is 0, and the last one will be 4. So the first inlet will be the number 1. The number 1, if we assume it is the original image, will go directly to the pix texture without any effect. And for the second one, number 2, so I'll connect it to the invert effect. And for the number 3, it will go through the grayscale effect. And for the last one, this number 4, it will go through the pix luma offset effect. And after they go through the effect, it will again arrive as the pix texture. You might also ask the question, and in this case, we have 4 input to the same inlet to the pix texture. Will that be a problem? And the answer is no, because the operation of this particular gate objects. So depending on the number in the first inlet, whether it is 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, it will only produce a valid outlet either in the first, second, third, or the fourth outlet of the gate command. So within the same period of time, only 1 out of those 4 outlets will be active. So in that case, we can have a more guarantee that this will be only one video input sending to the pixel texture at one single point of time. So we can explore a little bit of this operation before we make use of the real keyboard operation. So in the very beginning, the number 0 is passing through this one, and as a result, or as what had been mentioned in the definition of the gate command, the number 0 will block everything from arriving to the outlet. And for number 1, so the input in the right hand side inlet will go through the first outlet to the pixel texture. So this is the original image of the Distort movie without any effect or without any changes. And then the second one with number 2 will direct this particular input to the second outlet. So this is the invert. So the video image will be inverted in the color space and then direct to the pixel texture. And the next one, number 3, will direct the output to the third outlet, and that is, it will going through the grayscale operation before arriving at the pixel texture. And the last one will be the luma offset with this parameter we have put all together in this location 10 and 5. And again, follow the similar rules. The number 4 will go to the outlet number 4 and to the luma offset operation before arriving at the pixel texture. So we can have a selection of the 4 of them in this combination. And the next step is how we can map the key in the keyboard into these 4 numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that can be very easy and straightforward. So remember, we have the jam keyboard. So after jam keyboard, we will have a number produced. And if I target to use, for example, the key number 1, 2, 3, and 4 as the 4 major input controls buttons, so I will use the number key code 18, 19, 20, and 21 as an input. And in order to track or select them, I just make use of the select command. So the first number key will be number 1, that is with the code 18 in my computer. You might need to check it for yourself because in different computer platforms like the PC or Windows, in Macintosh, they may have different number representation. And if you are using the numeric keypad, those numbers may not be the same I'm using. Once we have select the first number key, for example, the key number 1, so it have a number key code 18, and it will go through this particular outlet. And what we are going to do is try to put a number over here. So for example, number 18 will trigger the number 1 to send to this particular radio button, and then the second one, number 19, will send a number 2 over there. So we will have something like this one. We'll make use of the message instead of a number because we know beforehand the value of this one, and it won't be changed within the course of the operation. So altogether we have 4 of them. And then I connect them individually. And all of the 4th number in the messages will be connected back to this radio button, and we can make use of what we have done before by using a send and receive over here. Instead of drawing the lines individually. And in the other side, we can have a receive. Or you can also delete this one if you do not want to have the double displays. So I will keep it at this moment in order for some sort of visual display for demonstration. So I have a receive box over here, and then the receive box will send the number to the radio button. And then we have a look of the operation. So I first select nothing, which is a number 0, and then I go back here and move it a little bit for demonstration. And then I'll select different number key. For number 1, you will see this particular radio button move to the second position, that is number 1. And then number 2, number 3, and number 4. So by pressing on different key, we will have different form of effect in the video processing. So this is one of the demonstration you can make use of the keyboard to work on with some sort of image or video processing effect by pressing a single button. And with the use of the keyboard and also this particular gate command, you can try to create a very simple instrument, and this instrument is not playing just music. You can use it to play effect for the video or effect for image in some sort of performance. And in that case, you do not need to go back to your page, and then you can just use, for example, the keyboard and the graphical display for your performance or exhibition. So one last thing for this one is we have mentioned we try to settle, for example, with some sort of number with 10 or 5 for the lunar offset display. And if you would like to use it automatically in the future, once you open or invoke this particular page, you can make use of another command called the low band. So the low band is a special command. You can use it to initialize the value of some parameter or inlet in your objects. For example, in this case, if you would like to use 10 and 5 respectively for these two parameters, you can just put in something like 10 as a message, and then 5 the second message, and connect the low band operation to both of them. And in that case, you will have an automatically initialize of the two value once you open this particular patch for display or for operation. So you do not need to go back to it during your performance or your exhibition and to change the value of this one. So everything will be happening within the gem window without referring back to this particular patch. So this is the way we can enable some form of automation for the initialization. So within this particular exercise, we basically make use of the keyboard as a way for controlling different effects. And that particular control had been enabled by the use of this gauge command in order to direct the video signal to different processing. First the invert, the second the grayscale, and the third is the luma offset, and then go through the pixel texture map on top of the rectangles. And those are the essential features of this particular exercise.